Welcome back, Focus Learners. I am absolutely thrilled you're joining me for today's explainer because we are unpacking something truly fascinating. Today, we're diving right into the foundations of Tarot. But listen, we aren't talking about parlor tricks, crystal balls, or some spooky tent illusion here. We're actually going to explore how Tarot works as a highly practical, incredibly insightful psychological tool for self-discovery and guidance. If you've ever been even a little bit curious about what's really happening when someone flips over these illustrated cards, well, you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's dive right into this. Right off the bat, we need to aggressively dismantle a major myth. Tarot is not about fortune-telling. In fact, as the source material perfectly puts it, tarot is not magic. It is a mirror, a language, and a guide that works through you. The cards do not predict some fixed, predetermined future. Instead, they act as a mirror, reflecting your present moment right back at you. They show you the energies, the patterns, and the choices that are currently active in your life. Beyond the crystal ball. Now, this requires a massive shift in perspective, stepping entirely away from those old Hollywood stereotypes. The future isn't just something that happens to you, right? It's something you actively create. It's shaped by your free will, your actions, and your conscious choices. So tarot doesn't make decisions for you. It simply illuminates the path you're currently on, empowering you to move forward with a whole lot more awareness and confidence.
So you might be wondering, if it's not a fortune-telling device, what exactly is it? Well, by definition, tarot is a symbolic system for guidance and self-awareness. It's a deck of 78 cards, and together they form a comprehensive visual map of universal human experiences. Think of it as a psychological toolkit. It helps you understand where you are right now, what influences surround you, and what possibilities lie ahead, rather than just dictating your destiny.
Now, what's really interesting about this foundational framework is the core philosophy. Every single card in that 78-card deck tells a story. And more importantly, every story reflects a part of you. Whether you're opening a deck for the very first time or you've had years of experience, the source material urges us to approach each reading with curiosity rather than expectation. The more open your mind and heart are, the more meaningful the messages become.
How tarot actually works. Let's transition from what it is to the invisible mechanics of how it actually functions. When you shuffle a deck and ask a question, you're inviting your higher wisdom to communicate with you. But here is the secret, and this is absolutely crucial. The cards themselves are not the source of the power. You are. The ink and paper, no magical properties. They are literally just the interface. Tarot just helps you tune in, understand, and translate the messages you already possess inside.
The 5 key principles of tarot. You see, tarot operates through this really beautiful, aesthetic combination of 5 universal laws and principles. It's an elegant system, and it works consistently because it relies on these foundational pillars. Let's break down these 5 key principles step by step so we can see exactly how the mechanics work. Principle 1, energy, the unseen force flowing through everything. Now, everything in the universe is energy. That includes our thoughts, our emotions, people, situations, the whole shebang. Tarot simply reads the energy of the question, the reader, and the situation. It picks up on these unseen, subtle forces and reflects them back to you in a symbolic form. It's kind of like a highly sensitive, energetic barometer.
Number 2 is intuition, your inner knowing. This is your internal guidance system. Intuition is literally the key that unlocks the true meaning of the cards. Tarot strengthens your intuitive abilities by actively pushing you to trust those very first impressions, those gut feelings, and the sudden insights that just pop up the exact moment you flip a card over.
Principle number 3, symbolism, the universal language of the subconscious. Every card in a tarot deck is incredibly rich with symbols, colors, figures, numbers, elements. Why? Because symbols speak a universal language. They completely bypass our analytical filters and connect directly with the subconscious mind. They help your conscious brain understand what your heart actually already intuitively knows.
Fourth, we have archetypes, timeless patterns of the human journey. Tarot cards represent universal archetypes that exist across all cultures. The fool, the lover, the warrior, the healer. These represent the timeless patterns of the human experience. When you pull an archetype card, you're tapping into a deeply ingrained psychological concept that reflects exactly where you are in your own human journey right now. And the 5th principle is synchronicity, meaningful alignment. When you pull the right card at the exact right time, it is not a random coincidence, no way. It is synchronicity, a meaningful alignment between your inner world and the external world. Essentially, you ask a question, and the universe answers through perfect timing. So the crucial point here is that understanding the mechanics is really only half the battle. The other half, understanding the human mind that operates it. This requires a sharp focus on balancing energy and intuition. Because tarot isn't just about memorizing some textbook meanings from a rulebook. It's about trusting the subtle energies and the inner wisdom you already have. The more you trust your intuition, for sure, the clearer and more accurate your readings will become.
Logical mind versus intuitive mind. To really grasp this, we have to look at how our brains process information during a reading. On one side, we have the logical mind. It analyzes, it seeks proof, it deals with hard facts, it lives in the past and the future, and it constantly asks why. But on the other side is the intuitive mind. The intuitive mind simply feels. It knows without proof, it connects with underlying truth, it lives fluidly and entirely in the present moment, and instead of why, it asks, what if?
The magic is in the balance. You might think tarot relies entirely on the intuitive mind, but actually, scratch that. The real magic happens when both minds work together in balance. The logical mind provides the structure, like knowing the traditional meaning of a suit or a number. Meanwhile, the intuitive mind provides the personal insight and the contextual truth for that specific moment. You absolutely need both to get a complete, accurate picture of your situation. This brings us to this beautiful core philosophy from our sources. Your intuition is the compass, and the cards are the map. Together, they guide you home. I love this because it brilliantly illustrates that the true meaning of a card is never found in a book alone. It's found in how that specific image speaks to your intuition, your personal experience, and the unique energy of the very moment you're in.
Trusting your inner compass. So how do we actually put this into practice? We have to learn how to trust that inner compass. Intuition is that quiet inner voice, the gut feeling, or even a sudden image that pops into your mind when you look at a card. Let's look at some highly actionable advice on how to tune in and effectively listen to that voice. First, you need to recognize the physical and mental signs that your intuition is actively speaking to you. Because it's not always a booming voice, right? Often it's super subtle. It might be sudden, fleeting thoughts, or you might physically get goosebumps or chills. You might even feel a distinct, unexplainable yes or no just pulling at your gut. Sometimes it's vivid images flashing in your mind, or just a sudden sense of deep inner knowing and crystal clarity. Let's move to how this builds into an actual, practical process for a reading. Step 1, slow down and quiet your mind. Step 2, look at the card without overthinking it. Just take it in. Step 3, actively notice the feelings, the images, words, or physical sensations that arise in your body. And step 4, write it down immediately before your logical mind steps in to talk you out of it. Of course, there are pitfalls, and knowing them empowers you to avoid them. Here are the most common beginner mistakes. Relying exclusively on the guidebook and completely ignoring your own insights. Overthinking every single tiny detail on the card until you're literally paralyzed. Ignoring your first impressions because they don't logically compute. Doubting yourself. And finally, forcing meanings to fit the answer you want rather than the answer you're actually receiving. Remember, overanalyzing completely blocks the flow of energy. Strengthen your intuition daily. The great news here is that intuition is just like a muscle. You can strengthen it daily, even outside of your tarot readings. The source material recommends simple daily practices you might already do. Meditating to quiet the mind, practicing deep breathing, spending time in nature to ground yourself, keeping a dream journal to connect with your subconscious, or simply just pulling one daily card and reflecting on it. Which brings us to the end of our explainer today. Remember, tarot doesn't reveal some predetermined future. It reveals the wisdom that is already waiting within you. You hold the power. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this powerful, introspective question to spark your own self-discovery. What does your intuition want you to know today? Take a moment, tune in, and just listen. Thanks for joining me, and keep exploring.